V.Lynn Hawkins is a certified business acceleration expert and small business funding strategist who focuses on crowdfunding as a means of raising capital for business. She is CEO and founder of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship and coaches her signature 5 tiers of accelerated business development. Lynn runs a 6-figure business growth Goddesspreneur DIAMOND Mastermind and the new Crowdfunding Hacker Mastermind, helping entrepreneurs create crowdfunding campaigns for business and social impact projects of all types. She believes when you give yourself permission to be successful, you've given yourself the gift of living a victorious life. Lynn's mission is to help increase the growing number of socially conscious businesses. As a host of the Crowdfunding Hacker WebTV Show, she gives entrepreneurs the chance to learn how to successfully crowdfund to raise capital, grow business, and make what she calls a residual impact from the efforts of a business crowdfunding campaign. All right. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I am ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. Yes, we're doing it. Lynn, you are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share with our audience how you do the things that you do, all the amazing things that you got going on in your life, and the wisdom so that we can be our greatest possible self. Thank you.
Well, Chris, it's just awesome to be with you here today. I'm so excited to share with your audience, and yeah, burn it up, buddy, burn it up.
Yes, absolutely. We're having a lot of fun today, so we're going to dive right in, Lynn. And here's the thing. Today our theme is the mastermind. And I mentioned already that you have 2 masterminds that you got going on. So why don't you share with us the power of the mastermind in your life? How has that affected you? How has that impacted you? How has that empowered you on your journey?
I love masterminds. Can I just say that? I love masterminds.
Yes.
Being a part of them for your own self as well as leading them so that you can help others to get the breakthroughs and the information and the nuanced how-tos for some of the things that they're doing. And when I first was exposed to masterminds because of course, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, I thought it was just the most awesome thing because he talks about the subliminal mastermind, right? He talks about having all of these great minds as a part of who and what he's drawing on for his own benefit. And then to be able to format that into something that we can utilize with the genius that is all around us right here in the tangible space we're in, as well as do like he did. Masterminds just provide such an amazing way to connect, to collaborate, to co-create, to communicate. You know, one of the things that I help people do is get their messaging right. And it doesn't happen by virtue of you writing it and practicing it by yourself.
Right.
It actually requires you practicing it on others.
Yep.
So that you can get that genuine, authentic feedback. And so, you know, masterminds, what can I say? I love them. And by virtue of the fact that I have 2, a women's business development mastermind and a crowdfunding mastermind, crowdfunding creation and development mastermind, and they work. They work.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So we're going to be diving even more into that because masterminds are so much fun. And I know we're starting one. We're launching one next week. So I'm excited to kind of hear your thoughts on what's been working and what doesn't work with them. And before we go any farther with that, why don't you share a little bit more about what you're working on today with the P3 Academy and, crowdfunding, all this amazing stuff that you're doing. Share with us and our audience what you're up to.
Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship is really a place where I do my 5 tiers of accelerated business development, coaching, and mentoring, and help business owners to grow 6-figure plus businesses. I'm right in that space of 6 figures and plus. And, what's really exciting about that is that when I started talking to people about social entrepreneurship, it's kind of like, well, what is it? How do you do social entrepreneurship? And it really is the space where heart-centered, purpose-driven entrepreneurs are doing business, because they're doing it for more than revenue. They're doing it to make a difference in the world. They're doing it to help other people. They're doing it to help support their favorite charity. They're doing it to create jobs. They're doing it to create jobs that then create more in our local economies. And so for me, social entrepreneurship was the space that I really dreamt of being in because of my background. I spent 30 plus years in commercial real estate lending. And so I was all up in the money, doing multi-million-dollar deals. And that was, as it related to real estate, the space that I thrived in. I tried to do residential real estate. And for me, I liked the structure. I liked the contracts. I liked the ability to work with the attorneys and the owners, the business owners who were looking at ways to grow their business, expand their markets. And I brought all of it into my business development coaching. And as it relates to crowdfunding, there's a nice little story that I like to tell. And when I was doing grant writing with my mom, I enjoyed it because I wanted to type, right? And this crazy. I wanted to practice my typing. I love typing. And back then we had the Royal typewriter that you actually had to pluck the keys and stuff. And that was part of the fascination for me. But what was even more fascinating was my mom taught me enough that she could send me downtown to the Central Library, and I could look in the archives for the latest books that were like, 8-10 inches thick, of sources of grant funders, right? So, yeah. And based on category and dollars, you had to know certain things in order to know which books to look in. And then when you found the information you were looking for, you had to cull it out and figure out who to write your grant application to. And there were standard formats. But as you can imagine, back then, when I was young, you had to write up everything, type it up, and then put it in the mail. And if they asked for 2 or 3 copies, then you had a big package. Nowadays, everything is online as it relates to grant writing. And that's really made a big difference for grantors as well as grantees, those applying for grants. Right. But in 2010, Obama wrote into legislation the Jobs Act. And the Jobs Act allowed for small business to get more easy access to funds, mainly through equity crowdfunding. But that equity crowdfunding was based on getting a piece of investors investing in projects that were their investments were project-based, not business-based. And so it created a whole nother opportunity for small business to get into this funding space. And then in 2017, March of 2017, the Jobs Act opened up that piece of equity crowdfunding that allowed for people with lesser net worths to be able to play in that arena, so to speak. But as it related to equity crowdfunding, you had to have the bigger deals. You had to have the $1 million or more net worth in order to play, to even invest in those kinds of deals. Wow. But the other side of it was crowdfunding opened up where you saw a lot more of the personal crowdfunding occurring. And the business side of things took a lower tier view. However, it was working. You had people who were needing to manufacture products that didn't have a means to do so because revenue just wasn't there to meet the demand. they started crowdfunding in some innovative ways, reducing the cost in the product so that they could pre-sell, get the funds in, and pay for the manufacturing. And so a lot of that was going on in the business arena. But I was able to even look at that and adapt it to how can someone who's doing a book do this and crowdfund to raise the funds to pay the publishing costs for the release of the book. And I have to tell you, when I started this 7 years ago or so, I wasn't quite sure how to do it. Yet now I've done a few, I've seen a lot more being done, and there's some really great ways that people are doing this nowadays. Movies. Right now I have 2 favorites that I'm actually playing in, and that's the movies. So whether it's a documentary or a feature film, even book, having a book that's being made into a movie, and then the social impact. One of my clients is really big in the space of cyberbullying. And so we've done a campaign for her as far as the cyberbullying space. And as it relates to kids, there's another one as it relates to adults. I mean, this cyberbullying space is no joke, with the Me Too movement and the Me Too movement as it related to women's issues. And now men are coming with the impact that the experiences that they've had, and a Me Too for men. And I'm thinking, sometimes we're so oblivious to the kinds of things that are going on in cyberspace until we either get touched or somebody we know gets touched. But I have to ask you, Chris, did you know that 50% of all online users can say that they've had the experience of cyber harassment? 50% of the, how many? Millions upon millions or billions of people who are online? That's horrendous. It really makes for something that's bigger than a conversation. And I like to do deals that actually move themselves into movements.
Yes.
And even with a book project or a movie project, or whether it's a documentary or a feature film, it's about the added messaging. And so that's the space that I've been in. I'm getting ready to launch next week the Crowdfunding Hacker TV Show, and feature some of these crowdfunding campaigns, feature some of the experts who are able to contribute to how you can best get your campaign done. All campaigns need graphics, and you need your website so that people can funnel through. There's nothing like capturing all this donor information and not having something to do with it. So I often talk about the residual benefits of a crowdfunding campaign. And it's really exciting space to be in for me right now.
Wow, that's amazing. I love all that you shared about. It's like so much juicy stuff in there. I'm curious about the Crowdfunding Hacker TV. Like, how did that idea get birthed, and like, what do you see being the impact with that? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, that was actually, a lot of the stuff that I get is from either awake downloads or sleep downloads, right? This was one of those, I woke up and it was there, downloads.
Wow.
But a couple of years ago, I had a web TV show called the Biz Info Zone Show. And it was actually something that I marketed to the savvy social entrepreneur. And I started doing a lot of education around social entrepreneurship and mindset and business development. And then the conversation kind of got stuck in crowdfunding. And so when I stopped doing the show and started really focusing on crowdfunding and helping people to either resurrect their campaign or create a new campaign, I actually developed a blueprint system.
Wow.
And that blueprint system has 5 phases and some really unique steps in it. But all of the steps in it are designed so that you leave nothing out of creating your campaign. And the Crowdfunding Hacker TV show is actually how I came to understanding all of this, having my campaigns fail, my campaigns succeed, having clients' campaigns be on both sides of the fence. And I'm thinking, what is the common denominator? What is the blueprint for successful campaigns? And so I spent about a year hacking some major campaigns, $1 million plus campaigns, some smaller campaigns, not just to see how they did it, but to see the messaging behind it. Why'd they do it? What was the impetus for them to make them really put themselves out there and want to do this? And a lot of it was in the space of social entrepreneurship. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff about the Think movie, the story of Think and Grow Rich. It was amazing. That was one of the campaigns that I actually hacked. I say that I even participated in it because I found it just before it went big into its launch. And so I was able to see what it looked like at the very beginning, how it changed because of the money they received and what they put back into their campaign over time. And they actually raised more than their stretch goal. And it was easy to see how. So it was that kind of hacking of the various campaigns that I did that I saw what worked and what didn't work. And one of the things that I say, and I preach this big time, is really crowdfunding works. And it works because of the WORX. With others, results are exponential. Right? You cannot do it by yourself. And the number of campaign owners who think, I'm just going to get it all written up, I'm going to do all the social media stuff, and then they put it up, and it's like, well, why is it not churning? Because it doesn't churn by itself. And so, I've given you some really great secrets about what the TV show is about and about how you can create a campaign that's successful.
Beautiful. So
some of these things.
I was going to say, before we go any further, why don't you take us a little bit back on some of the failures, some of the learning lessons, the pearls of wisdom that you picked up along the way, and just have our audience learn what are the mistakes that we don't want to make. We know not to make the single, I'm going to do it all on my own, right? Single superhero kind of thing. We don't do that. That doesn't work. What else? What else doesn't work?
And that's one of the biggest ones that doesn't work. Because the second one probably is that you have a team that is not engaged, that is not helping you to move your campaign. And I mean, even if it's part staff and part people who are influencers who are going to push the message out, one of the things that I did hack was, well, why does it work in the affiliate space, right? It works in the affiliate. It's the same thing as doing something in the affiliate space, only you're utilizing your influencers, but if they don't have the same or a high enough degree of support for the work that you're doing or are somehow also involved in it, they are not the best for the team. Right. They may share once. You need people who are sharing at least once a week, more if possible, twice a week if possible. But your team is a critical piece of your crowdfunding campaign success. And I've seen teams start with a lot of fire and interest, and then, a week later, it's like, but people aren't answering me back. So hit them back again. Yep. Well, people aren't answering me back. Well, those aren't the only people go to other people.
That's right.
It's the same thing. If you were an affiliate marketer, how might you do that? That's a great question to ask yourself when you're doing your crowdfunding campaign. One of the other things that I've seen is to really do yourself the disadvantage of not doing video and not doing multiple videos and showing up on Facebook Live or, utilizing Be Live or anything else. Zoom. I love Zoom. I'm a Zoom girl. But just being there in video, live or as live as possible so that people can hear your heart. And it's a matter of hearing your heart. They can see things in writing. And I'm the first one to tell you that the majority of sales pages that I get with the video on it, and they say, you don't do a sales page without a video. I don't watch the video. So it's also important for me to see a lot of what you're talking about in the copy that's on the page. Yep. Because I figure like this, okay, if it's a 5 or a 7 minute video, but I can get through the copy in 3, why would I? And this is just me. I'm not saying a video is not going to, I just said you want to have the videos, right? But your videos are your personality when you add it to the campaign. Your videos tell the stories that even when you have it in writing, somebody says, that's a great story. Let me hear how she says it or he says it. And the really, one of the biggest other pitfalls is someone who's reading their script. As the videos is a big thing, but if you're reading your script, it means that, first of all, you don't trust yourself about this important information you're trying to convey about a real purposeful thing, intentional thing that you're doing for crowdfunding. And you're not showing up in a way that people actually will feel they want to support you. And I'm big on that, because if you need a script, if you need help following something, let it be bullet points. When you are aligned with what it is that you want to express, when your heart is in it and your head and your heart match and your voice picks it up because you are in alignment and it comes out, and the purpose and the passion and the power of what it is that you're talking about is easily expressed in your voice, people feel that. It's the resonant energy of what you're talking about. I saw your video about the mastermind starting next week, and I was like, yes. If I were to do a mastermind with somebody, I want somebody with that kind of energy, with that kind of excitement about what it is that they're committed to doing and the results they're committed to having for somebody else. So yes.
Thank you. I love that we're talking about personality, because one of the things that I look for in the people who I want to associate with is being able to see their self-expression, right? Other influencers, and not everybody's gift is on video, but the sooner we get comfortable being in front of a video, being able to share our message, because we're not always going to have just a piece of paper to communicate with people. This is a real world, we got to be face to face with people, and it's through the camera work that we start looking at all the stuff that we didn't like about ourselves, but we also start learning to forgive and love all of the parts about ourselves that we may not like, and appreciate them and acknowledge them and accept and embrace those parts. So I think not only is it good to get a crowdfunding campaign off, but it's also amazing to start to love ourselves more and be proud of the work that we're doing, and not be so concentrated about the message, but just be the delivery person, how much we appreciate it. Not I guess not so much about how it's delivered, but that it gets delivered. I'm here to deliver this message. I don't care how it comes off, but it's going to get delivered.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that, because I remember, and I do a little piece in what I teach my clients. I spent 7 years in Toastmasters because I needed to master this thing called thought into words. Yes. And it wasn't that I felt like I couldn't do it, but there were certain things that I was, I'm stopping in the middle of a sentence. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's something that I'm telling myself. And when I realized that it was me and what it was that I was telling myself about me, I was able to start saying, well, what if that's not true? I communicate very well. That means that whatever that thing was is not true. So going through that process of doing it, you come to realize the things that are the limiting beliefs and the impediments to your really expressing yourself. Because I talk about the fact that there are 5 phases to the crowdfunding campaign, but there are also 5 things that I think that every person needs, from personal development, professional development, your business development, your marketing strategy, your crowdfunding campaign. And it all starts the same place, and that's vision. That is, what is it that you see in your life, in your career, in your business, in your world? What is it that you want to see in your crowdfunding campaign? There's a reason that you're doing it. It's raising funds. However, what's going to happen? Should those funds be raised? Who's going to benefit from whatever it is that you're doing, from a book to a movie to a product or program? Who's going to benefit? Because that is and should be the focus of the vision that you have for your crowdfunding campaign. Just like your business, I want to become a 7-figure business. Well, money is not the thing that is actually going to create that vision. Money is a means to an end. It's a good means to an end. It's a great means to an end. But money is, I'll get to live in the house where my kids can each have their own room, or I'll be able to give up the hoopty and buy a car that really works, or, whatever, take the vacation of a lifetime or 2 in 1 year. It's the vision. And then I also talk about, we as humans, especially as entrepreneurs, really have a vision that is beyond our years. And what I mean by that is, you've heard the story of the dash, right? There's many of us that live life and we kind of get to the end of the dash, the born date and then the end date. And we say, wow, what did my life consist of? And we're always looking back. Well, suppose there was an opportunity for you to build something on the other side of the dash. You didn't even have to be here. And, a great example of that is a book. Napoleon Hill's been gone for a long time. He's living beyond his dash. And I call that legacy living in order to leave a legacy. And legacy living means you want that vision today that you're formulating today to be one that lives beyond you. And everybody has a book in them, but it doesn't mean that everybody has to write a book. Suppose it's that you've done something and you've impacted lives of young people and they carry your essence on with them and they impart that into other children who carry that essence on with them. It's that kind of living that your vision must have in order for you to really find that alignment that I was talking about. So that and that alignment is a vibration. So with your vision, aligning it, you kind of think you see it in your head, but it's really seen from the heart when it's the kind of vision that's a vision that pulls you. And that's the kind of vision that you want. And aligning the heart and the head creates a resonant vibration that as you're living your legacy life, you're actually doing things and attracting things that fit. All the coincidences and synchronicities that happen are not just happening. They're happening because this is who you are becoming. And
I love you use that word.
I take that to the next stage. So we've got the vision and the vibe, and that vibe, once that vibe is really intact, is when it comes out of your voice. And your voice might be in spoken word, whether you're giving a speech or teaching a class or training or talking to clients or on stage, off stage, on video. It's the voice of who you are. And as you do more of this, as you are more indelibly aligned in this space of vibration, comes out in your voice. And it also comes out in, I do a lot of the creation of my own marketing material. Mm-hmm. I can tell when I'm in that space and it's, high resonance and high vibration, because I look at this stuff and I'm like, wow, that's good. And I can also look at times when I'm like too consumed with, I need to do this, and this. And I'm trying to write copy and it's just like, okay, I need to put this aside right now, right? So it's really a place where your voice becomes your spoken voice, your written voice, your interview voice, if you are interviewing others' voice, it is all of that coming together.
Where do you feel people have the biggest challenge in really getting their voice, like owning in on their voice? Because, the vision, a lot of people are attempting, we have a lot of coaches, a lot of service-based entrepreneurs who tune into this show and who come on the show as well. And I know one of the big challenges is on the journey, knowing who's the specific niche that they serve in the journey. So would that be more of the vision side or the voice side?
That would be more of the voice side, because remember I said you've got the brain part, and the brain is the part where you're actually identifying the niche opportunities. Who's my ideal client? What do they look like? What are the problems that they have? What are the solutions they need? What are the problems that they have after they found that solution? And you have to know that in order for your heart to speak to. This might be a broad group of individuals. So how do you cull it down? Because you want to really be specific in your niche. And you do that by knowing your heart. Because I could work with all kinds of people that want to make movies and raise funds for movies. And I'm just going to lay it out there. I can't. Because if your movie doesn't resonate with my heart, yet there are some people out there who would say it doesn't matter. But that is also how you bring the two together, aligning in that vibration of knowing who your ideal client is, knowing your heart, being able to cull it down and really bring that niche in tight. Because people who feel you, it doesn't matter if they're part of that niche demographic or not. They feel you, they find you, they're like, I need to work with you because of who you are. And it's in that becoming, because I'll admit it, I wasn't there. I didn't just get there, but I wasn't there a few years ago. And I had to figure out now, why do I have this client? This is not the client that I'm most happy working with. And why do I have this client? This is almost as bad as the other client that I'm just not that happy working with. And we have to be honest with ourselves. And that's that heart space. We have to be honest with ourselves and know that we owe it to ourselves to be there, to speak that, and to be able to say no. One of the biggest challenges I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, face is being able to say no. Yeah, that's a huge one.
How do they strengthen, how do we, anyone, men or women, strengthen our ability to say no?
It's the strength of the heart. It's the vibration. It's the knowing that, first of all, if this is not your ideal client, it means more work. It means, pulling you out of that energetic peace and joy that you want to work in. And is it worth it? And I used to think it was worth it until I decided, no, it's not worth it. And deciding that brought my heart, my head, and the vibration into a strong enough alignment where I was able to say, you know, I'm not sure I'm the best fit for you. But what I'd like to do for you is, you know, here's this digital course that I did. And I think this might be a great place for you to start. I do a lot of mindset stuff in everything that I do. And while I may not say that that is probably going to be the most beneficial piece of this, it just might be. And if I've been able to help somebody in that way, I know that I'm in alignment with what I want in my heart and my head and what I want to resonate out. Because our ideal clients are out there. And when you're in this space of alignment, they show up and they're right and they love you and you love them. And that's what it's all about. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we happened to get into this conversation of the heart of business. Well, the heart of business, I believe, is when you do your business and people can see your heart. And people know that you are genuine and authentic. And one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, especially young entrepreneurs, and I mean young in that 1 to 3 years of business, is, you know, well, I haven't generated as much stuff, you know, clients and things as everybody else, so I'm a fraud. And having that belief actually disconnects the heart and doesn't allow the full force of the heart and the head to align so that your voice actually speaks in this realm of confidence. And what I've also found is people don't mind you saying that I haven't done as much as I want to do, and you are on this path with me at this point in time to help me to get into that space with those numbers that I want to do. They're open to that. They appreciate that more than you feeling as though you're a fraud. They see that as more of your willingness to maybe even do a little more, or, you know, help them a little more, or, you know, get a bigger discount, or, you know, there any number of ways that people collaboration in space like that is absolutely beautiful.
Just being transparent, being real, having authentic communication is that's the most powerful place to create from.
Yes.
Yeah. And
co-creating through collaboration in that space. One of the things that I talked to a friend of mine about not long ago was she does these annual summits. And while she's hosting the summit, a lot of the people that are participants in her summit are clients, either current clients or past clients. And she's like, this is how I can support them. This is how I can bring them into the arena where more is accomplished. And, you know, some of these are my early clients who, you know, I didn't have the numbers that I have now. And I'm able to give back to them by helping them be in this space. And I mean, there's so many things that we can do to be in that heart-centered co-creation space.
Awesome.
But we got through 3 things. Let me tell you what the 4th one is.
Cool.
So we've got vision, vibe, voice. And the next one is huge. And this is like magic and music to the marketer's ears. And that's visibility. Right. So let's talk about it across dimensions here. We talked about it in personal development. The visibility of you in personal development is you're showing up. You feel like you're standing on more solid ground. You feel like you are more of you because you're becoming more of who you were born to be, your greatest possible self. And in the professional space, you're showing up as a more confident individual because when you've gone through the vision, the vibe, and the voice, being in the visibility of what it is that you need to do professionally becomes easy. Speaking around the conference table, doing a training for your colleagues, you are able to do it because you're sound, you're solid. And in the entrepreneurial space, we were talking about video. This is the same space that video comes in. When you decide that it's time for you to step out of the shadows and into the light, the space where you and your business need to be, and to be the more successful business that you probably want, it's called visibility. Step up and step out, step into the light of the visibility that your business requires of you in order for it to grow. And we as entrepreneurs are responsible to our businesses, those who are our clients, as well as those who are our partner resources, whether they're employees or contract partners. We owe ourselves to be in the space of people seeing us and hearing us and knowing what we're doing. Burn it up.
Yep.
And that last piece is what I call victory.
Love it.
When you have moved yourself through those places, you're standing in the visibility of, my business and I are here to serve. All of that. And my offer is this, and I want to do that. And the bonus is this. And, the crowdfunding campaign, this is why I'm doing this. This is why this is so important to me. This is why you must contribute, because whatever the circumstances are, but you can hear the voice in it all. You can see the visibility in it all. And who would not want to say, okay, I'm sold. Where do I sign? Here's my card. All of those things that bring you into that victory. And victory is not a stopping point. Victory is a breathing point. I call it the space that is the bigger milestone goal. And I love to be in the conversation about goals and goal setting, because a goal is a hard end.
Yes.
You can hear it in the word. It's tough. It's like, that's it.
Yep.
We need to set goals, but I look at goals that are not, that are any place before the dash. Those are milestone goals, because my goal is to reach my dash and do it the way I want to do it, including living a legacy life and leaving a legacy. And so for milestone goals, when you reach that milestone, it's a place to breathe. It's a place to rest. It's a place to regroup, recap. It's a place to relook at what it is that you did, really form what it is that you want to do next. And then as you're doing that, you're resting up, because the journey continues. And I believe I've seen, it's part of what I hacked through too, that when you do this goal setting in this manner, you actually allow yourself a continuous series of open doors to walk through. And if you can picture that, if life is a journey, if your business life is a journey and you're moving forward, it's all about the forward movement. You can take a minute and look back and regroup, and then you're back on the journey. Well, the journey also means that you're going over mountains, around them, through tunnels, across bridges. I look at those as the doors. And for each one, if it's open, it's easy to get through, right? It's hard to just take that next step through a closed door. It's tough. You got to do something and open it. Suppose there's no doorknob. You got to push it. Or maybe instead of the push, it's the pull. You actually have to stay there and figure that out first. That's why I like milestones. They are the doorways of the open doors to the next thing. And that energy continues to flow. Because anything about energy, everything is energy. And energy neither gets created nor destroys, just transmutes, turns into something else, depending on what stage it's in. Mm-hmm. And when you get to these milestone goals, you're reforming energy that is still moving. Even though you're able to breathe, you're able to relax and rejuvenate. And I often say that it's imperative that we take the time to do that. Then you're ready to get up and you know where you're going and you're on your way again. And that is victory. Each of those milestones is a space of victory to celebrate and relate to those around you, those who've helped you, those who are championing you. Mm-hmm. And so those are my 5 things. Without those, you get lost in the sauce.
So I love these. And I'm curious, did you add a V to your name to remind you of these 5?
No, actually, the V to my name was first. My first name does begin with a V. My mother gave that to me. She actually named me after her 2 aunts that raised her after her mom passed away. She was 12. And it was Vera and Edith. So my first name is Meredith, like Meredith with a V. But that V, I was 16 years old. So talk about vision, talk about story. This is part of what really got me in this space too, because I was 16 years old before I knew that. And it was the first day of at 16, you're in 10th grade. And I came home just mad as a hornet. It's like, what the heck is up with this name Meredith? Because my family and everybody called me Lynn. And so I'm like, why do I have to go to school and get my name butchered like this? Why don't they just leave it off? Better yet, where did you get this from? And then my mom tells me this story about how she named me. And I'm like, okay, all right, I got it now. I got it. And so from that day until now, that V has been a prominent piece of not just who I am, but who others inquire about who I am. What does it mean? The 5 V's have anything to do with that. And it's just actually very coincidental, synchronistic.
Yeah, I was going to say coincidental. No, it was designed. Yes. That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And
thank you for asking.
Yes, absolutely. The vision is so important. Having that clarity of where we're going to go, the vibe, the vibration is so critical to make sure that we're in alignment with that vision. We're feeling good. We're opening ourselves up to all the miracles and gifts that the universe and God want to give to us, right? We got to be in that good state of mind, the good energy. The voice is critical to be able to share what it is that we are working on, to be able to enroll people into our cause and have them rise up because we shared that voice. The visibility, well, there's no one to share the voice with unless we make ourselves visible, unless we step up to the plate. We step up and put ourselves out there. And that's one of the biggest challenges of entrepreneurs and people who have a message is that worthiness conversation, that enoughness conversation, being willing to make themselves visible. And then lastly, it's the victory. It's to celebrate. It's to get to that milestone, right? Along the dash. To get to that milestone and celebrate, like take a time to recoup, to look back at the progress, to integrate the learning lessons and get ready for the next, sprint or journey forward into the next goal. So that is so beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. I think you did a fabulous job of pulling all of that in. That was great.
I love it. So in terms of the crowdfunding, I'm curious, how do you see your clients and the people that you work with, really latch on to these 5 V's? Like, what do you see shifts? So what do you see opens up when they finally have a framework, or it doesn't have to necessarily be crowdfunding, but, people who you work with, when they finally have a framework to live by and they have clarity around, okay, here's where I am, here's where I need to go next. You give them these steps, like what opens up for people, and what is that like for you?
For me, it's been an amazing process to see work. Because people actually identify why it is that they do what they do, and that it is bigger than the money. It is something that they feel called to, and it's something very purposeful and intentional on their part. And it's something that most didn't realize before going down this path with me. So it's been a real joy to see this unfold and to have people to say, I don't know if I ever would have known that about myself or the business that I'm in and why this is so important to me. It's funny, my client who's doing the kids bullying, she's an amazing woman, and you'll see, like I said, some of my interactions with her and some of the stuff we'll share or on the TV show. But she does this thing. She is one of the most passionate people I have ever met around the cause that she is moving forward with. She's a transformational coach, but she, in her prior career, was a teacher and an education social worker. And so she has seen kids on both sides of the fence and in the middle where bullying is concerned. And, perfect example of coming up with her own blueprint for moving kids through this space, and something that she, in fact, taught me about the work that I was doing and often shared about. And that is, when you understand your talents and you understand your abilities, then you want to share your gifts. It's part of the natural process. And she calls them your tags: talents, abilities, and gifts. And she has actually the kids walk around and tag each other and say, I appreciate you for your talent, abilities, and gifts. And, we were talking about the whole victory space and it's how important it is to celebrate. Yet one of the key pieces of that celebration is generally focused around the money, right? But the piece that our soul cries for is the celebration of who we are. The celebration of what we've accomplished. And, there are a lot of people who say, well, I didn't do everything that I wanted to do. I didn't make my goal. I only made 75%, or I only made 95%. It's like, well, isn't that something to celebrate? Look at where you are now as opposed to where you began. And I think that is really a key piece of recognizing who we are and how we are continually becoming our best selves, and seeing our own talents, abilities, and gifts, and what we do in our businesses to help our clients and customers is part of the who we are.
Yes.
And as we continue this path of becoming our best selves, somebody was asking me the other day, well, do you ever become it? And I was like, well, do you ever just get old? No, you keep getting older and older and older until you stop. And do you want to stop? Well, when you stop, that's when you want to stop becoming, because becoming is like water flowing.
Right. It's life. It's life. Becoming is life. Aliveness. It's nurturing. Yes. It's sprouting. It's plants blossoming. That is life.
Yes, it's rain one day, sunshine the next. It is all that we are able to consume. It's like, air has to flow. So does life. And becoming is right up there with it.
Wow, I love it. Lynn, this is beautiful. So we're beginning to wrap up now, and this has been an amazing interview, and our audience surely wants to know, how do they stay connected with you, and what do you want them to do next?
Well, I would really love for people to find me at the p3academy.com. And even more than that, I don't have it in front of me. I hope you have it, Chris. I had a link that I wanted to invite people to go to download my book and be a part of everything that's yet to come as it relates to becoming our best selves, as well as crowdfunding. And then keep an eye out for the TV show. I hope to be all over social media. And please, when you find it, please share.
Amen.
So,
amen. Yes.
If you have the link, I would really appreciate it. I think it's
P3ASE-Diamond-Mastermind. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to crowdfundinghackertv.com as well as bit.ly/P3ASE-Diamond-Mastermind, and you can find out more about Lynn, connect with her, and get involved at an even deeper level. And Lynn, what you're doing for the world and for people who are developing their vision, their message, and making the impact and leaving a legacy is just phenomenal. And I'm excited to be on this journey with you and to continue growing the relationship and journeying. And it's such a blessing. And thank you for all the work that you do, Lynn.
Thank you, Chris. And likewise. Namaste.
Namaste. Have the best day ever. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thanks. Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.